May Hashem's name will be blessed forever and ever. We're going to finish Be'ezrat Hashem the gate of falsehood, and we're going to discuss the last part of this gate. What we need to know is, in a nutshell, what we've learned, that the punishment, the great punishment of a liar, is even when he tells the truth, no one believes him anymore. And so I wrote myself something in notes in red, but I can't find out how to say it on top of my head. Okay.
It's like if somebody was going to the sea, to the beach.
No, you want to put it
He
here.
has help for no reason. He has help for no reason.
Zev. Wolf, you know, and nothing happened. But the third time, nobody would come, and wolf came. Right. So, sometimes, according to the Torah, you may lie. Wow. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
It's
We've
called
discussed-
stretching the truth.
Just put a different label to it.
It's called what?
Stretching the truth.
Strange. How is it permitted? The Torah said you should not lie.
Shalom bayit.
Shalom bayit is a good thing. Correct. Shalom bayit. Someone that has already he chose his wife, future wife. He give you invitation. You never saw her. You see him, you see her, and you really feel sorry for your friend. But he made his choice already. He asked her, "What do you think about her?" She's probably best for you. In a case that you know things that he didn't know about her or about him, you should tell. But you have to consult with the scholar how to say it, to whom to say it, how to go, how to deal with that. There's a lot of people coming for dating, to date with disguise, and it's not the real person.
Catfish.
Yeah. What do you mean?
They're called catfish.
Oh, catfish. Okay. You know how we were disappointed when we catch a catfish? Catfish. Do you ever fish? And they struggling. You thought you got a whale, and this small one, and we don't eat it. It's not kosher. You have to throw it. Waste my time and my worms. Heading for frame, feeding catfish over here. Okay. Yafa, bechavod.
There are instances in which the sages permit telling a falsehood, such as in making peace between a man and his neighbor in Yevamot 65b. It is likewise permitted to praise a bride before the groom as being beautiful and charming, though she not be so. Ketubot 17a. And in relation to hospitality, if one has been graciously hosted, he should not announce in public, "How good is this man in whose house I lodged? How greatly he honored me," lest many disreputable people come to make themselves his guests.
He wants to compliment his friend, says, "This guy is so great. Anytime you go to him for Shabbat, he offers you to stay. He will give you tzedakah, the greatest tzedakah." You're telling the truth. You're giving compliment to another Jew. What's wrong with that? Allah says, "Hey, people want to jump over him. They're going to clean him from his money." So, if we ask you, so how did he treat you? He's not supposed to give so much compliment. Baruch Hashem, it was okay, it was great, that's it. Or if you go there, you have to go in certain hours, and they give you this kind of a tzedakah, and they'll host you, and they give you. Allah said you should avoid that, because you can cause a great loss to another Jew. Okay? Talking about... Okay, remind me, I'll end up with the story. Go ahead.
In this respect, it is written in Mishlei 27:14, "He who blesses his friend with a loud voice, rising early in the morning, it shall be accounted as a curse to him." And in relation to a tractate, if one is asked whether he is fluent in a relation to a tractate, in the subject matter, it is in the interest of humility to say that he is not.
They ask him, do you know the halacha in regards to Pesach or Lag BaOmer? He knows perfectly. He should say, I'm okay. Don't brag about it. But if you know, you should not say not only the Passover, You want to make an impression that you know more than you really know.
Right.
This is a lie. Okay?
Concerning conjugal relations, if one was delayed in coming to the synagogue because of this, and he is questioned as to his lateness, he should give some other reason. And in all these cases where sages permitted deviation from the truth, if one can manage without lying, it is better that he do so. For example, if he is asked, "Do you know this tractate?" he can answer, "Do you really think I know it?" If he can put off
They asked, Rabbi, did you ever study Talmud? To study one page is going to blow your mind. It contains a lot of stories and stuff, but it contains a lot of complicated halachot. It's really make the Jew's mind sharp, to the degree that in Korea now they're teaching Talmud. South Korea, they came to Yeshiva Ponemich in Bnei Brak. They want to know, what is this, the Jewish genius? Where did it come from? Went to the Yeshiva and they saw people screaming. They understand that it comes from the Talmud. So they translate it to Korean. It's already translated to English, Schuttenstein edition, other editions, so it was easy. And they teaching it in school. Talmud is being taught not only in South Korea, and many other places. They want to have the next generation sharp and smart as the Jews. The Jews, right? Regular. The Jews are very famous for that. So they ask one. So to know one page, you study one page. Wow, you're so great. You finish the whole tractate. There's some short tractate, 24 pages maybe.
Make a party, huh?
You're making a seudah, and people come and greet you. Mazal tov, mazal tov. It's great. It takes some time. To know the whole Shas, the whole.
Wow.
They have to be really. They call it Gaon, genius. It's also the numerical value of 60, and 60 is the amount of tractate that are there. There's less, but the idea is the 60. Okay. Some of them are really complicated, I'm telling you. Especially Eruvin and Yevamot and Nedarim. You study one page, you want to kill yourself. I'm telling you have to have calculator, cosinus, tangens in measurement, and Rashi brings all this calculation. You say, how these guys measure that without calculators? Anyways, so there are people, some that I know, they knew all the Shas. Not only knew the Shas, they knew the Shas by heart.
Wow.
One of them was Chacham Ovadia Yosef. So a guy asked him, Rabbi, do you know, I heard that you know, someone that was a little bit rude. I said, Rabbi, I heard that you know all the Shas by heart, huh? So Rabbi Ovadia said, no, just a half. I said, which half? I said, whichever you like.
That's sharp. Now that is sharp.
He's trying being humble, but this guy's pushing.
Yeah.
You're pushing. You get what you
Whatever have you want.
there is. Well, maybe I conclude this class with a tip. A tip for everybody for life. Listen to this. Many people pray to Hashem on a daily basis, and they do mitzvot, and they do tzedakot, but their prayers are not being answered, or maybe just a little, some of it, and they don't understand why my prayers are not being answered. I'm doing everything by the book. I'm praying, I'm coming on time, I'm giving tzedakah, I'm doing everything I can, but Hashem, 20 years I'm praying for you. We can learn that from what we've learned in the Agadah. Agadah, it says, Vayishma kolenu. Hashem eventually heard the prayers of the Jews, and he took them out of Egypt because they really suffered so much. And out of suffering, they cried out to Hashem. And one of the greatest punishments they had to go through is soldiers would come to their houses and pick up kids, babies, shech them, slaughter them, and they will pour the blood, we talked about it, right, into a bath, jacuzzi-like, for 6 months, 150 every morning, 150 in the evening, 300 kids by the clock. They were like the Nazis. So Pharaoh could dip himself in this blood because he had some type of leprosy, and his wizard told him that the only thing is a baby's blood could heal him. He was healed after 6 months, and obviously he pursued after the non-Jews babies. It was horrible. People hide kids, but how much you can hide and how long you can hide. They're crying, they cut them. So some of the commentators ask how Hashem allow it. Kids, they should grow up, they should be mensch. So one of the answers, he said, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, says that, well, Hashem first knows better, and he knows that these kind of kids, they're not going to be good for the world when they grow up. Consider them, I'm telling you something very extreme, 300 Hitlers every day. One, Moshe Rabbeinu challenged, says, no, Hashem, he took him, and there was the troublemaker Micha.
Yeah.
Later, he revived one guy, not from the Shechita, the one that he was on the wall. Anyways, so, and then it says in the Kabbalah that they were from the flood, that these people that the Neshamot, that reincarnated from the flood, and they had to come for a certain time. So Hashem knows to which family he brings a Neshama for how long, because the parents also are Neshamot, they're reincarnated and they have some debts, and it's calculated, only Hashem knows.
Right.
Fine, let's end up here. So, the rabbi says, I tell you why Tefillot were not being answered. And we go back to the prayers of the Jews when we answer that. How Hashem accepted their prayers. He says, because people don't know how to ask. What is it? I know how to ask. I'll go to the Tefillat Amidah, I come with a shopping list, and I have a lot of things to ask for. Give me all day long. That's fine, but what's the meaning I don't know how to ask? So he says, I saw, and Rabbi Moshe Midner says, you have to, when you speak with Hashem, to give details. Not like, Hashem, you know what I need. You know I have problems with health. Bevakasha, help me. No. Hashem, we have this, we have that. You enter the doctor. He says this, medication. My son, my daughter, needs shidduch, need zera, parnasa. Everything, you have to say it in details. Not general request. You go to the details. So, one of the rabbis asked, Rabbi Moshe Midner says, why I have to give details? Hashem knows. Hashem knows me. Hashem knows my needs. Why have to give him till I'm wasting my time and probably I'm wasting his time. He says, it's like a father promised his son, will you behave? I'll take you to a toy store, Toys R Us, and I'll give you a toy of your choice. He will behave. He took him to the store. He's with his father. Abba, look here, look there. Eventually, after an hour, he come with 3 toys that he loved the most. Abba, I like them, all 3 of them. What a good father will do. Good, you earn it, you take it.
Pick one out of the 3.
Take the 3, you're good. You deserve it. You deserve it. Imagine the same thing happens with his teacher. You behave, you get. You behave, you take him to the store. Would you do it to his teacher? You would be embarrassed to say, but I like them. You barely have the guts to take one. Hashem says, I want you to treat me, look at me like a father. To ask, Abba, I want this and I want this and I want that. Take advantage because I'm your Abba. It's also important to know that one should be careful what he asks for. What does that mean? The Talmud brings 3 people. Listen to this. It says, Shlosha sha'alu shelo kahogen. 3 ask shelo kahogen, who says not in appropriate way. For 2, they were answered. 1 got the hit. Who were these 3? 1 is Eliezer, the servant of Abraham. 2nd is Yiftach, from the book of Shoftim, the Judges. And the 3rd is Shaul, King Saul. What happened? Eliezer was supposed to bring a shidduch to Yitzchak. So he says, if I go to the well, the woman that come with the bucket and give me the drink, and with the camels, I'll take her. What if an old lady will come, I don't know, 70 years old? What, God forbid, someone with defect or someone that, who knows? How do you do such a thing? From Shamayim they sent Rivka. King Saul, what he did, he also asked a request from Shamayim, not in an appropriate way. Goliath was challenging the Jewish people for 40 days, 40 nights, exactly at the time they do tefillah. We don't have to fight. The Philistines are here, the Jews are here. Let's one-on-one. The winner, the loser will be servants. Some of the army flee already. Shaul is desperate. And who comes to the battle zone? David. What's going on here? Who is this guy screaming, Hashem, I'll take care of him. But Shaul, before that, make an announcement. The one that will beat this giant, I will give money. It will be from taxes, and I'll give him my daughter. So the Talmud asks, how you can say such a thing if a slave would come, if a crazy person would come, someone that's not a problem, you give him your daughter? You made a promise. But from Shamayim, they send who? David. He was lucky, get David. So Eliezer was lucky, Rivka. Shaul was lucky, David. But Yiftach says, Hashem, if I win, the first thing that comes out of my house, a sacrifice. And who came?
His daughter.
His daughter.
Jephthah.
By the way, he didn't really slaughter her because you don't do human sacrifices. Right. What happened was she was in the mountain like a monk, and every few months her friends came there. She was dedicated to Hashem. She was studying Torah, and she didn't get married. It's a long story. By the way, the question in Talmud says, if he made a vow, he can annul the vow. Go to the prophet. Who was the prophet back then? Pinchas. Pinchas that is Eliyahu. Later on, became Eliyahu. Go to Pinchas, the Navi. Tell them I made a promise. I want to nullify the vow. But Yiftach was like a king and says, hold on, I'm a king. If he wants me, he should come to me. And the prophet says, I'm a prophet. And he should come to me. In between, this girl, miserable girl, had to live for years in the mountain, in the cabin. And from Shamayim, they were punished for it because Pinchas lost his prophecy for some time. And Yiftach started to lose body parts. A finger got rotten, they had to remove it and they bury it. An ear and another finger and half a foot, Hashem Erachem, for parts. And it says, Al-Yiftach, Shenikbar, he was buried Be'arei Gilad. He was buried in the cities, in plural, of the Gilad. Because every time they buried a different part of him. From being, and he's your daughter, you know? Anyways, so why to Eliezer and Shaul, they asked same way like Yiftach. They were not specific. He has to be Jew, he has to be this and that age. They were just in general. They accepted. And they got a good shidduch, or David came, but Yiftach really got punished. It all depends on the zechuyot, on the merit that one has. So Eliezer was tzaddik. He was not Jew. He was nochad, but he was tzaddik. He was so tzaddik that he is one of the 10 tzaddikim that entered Gan Eden alive. A different topic to talk maybe another time. Eliezer, he had good meaning, and Hashem took the meaning and fulfilled what he meant. Because he has a lot of zechuyot, a lot of merits. Same with Shaul. But Yiftach didn't have enough. Yiftach, or whatever you want to call it. So, it all depends on the zechuyot. Huh?
You need to put tzedakah.
Tzedakah is a very good thing to do. It's one of the great zechuyot you can do, but you have to keep Shabbat. You have to keep the holidays, you have to keep kosher, you have to keep everything it says in the Torah. Hashem says, what is the difference between you and the non-Jews? Non-Jews, they do tzedakah too. I can show you non-Jews that do tzedakah that the Jews, they never will do. They give millions, they give billions.
Also to Israel.
What's the difference between you and the non-Jews? I gave you Torah, you have to keep Torah mitzvot.
To Shabbat.
Shabbat, kashrut, family purity, everything. Now, because it's too late, so I'm not going to share with you another story I want, but I will leave it for next week. It's an amazing story. We're just going to answer, I want to answer what we asked in the very beginning. How Hashem listened to the prayers of the Israelites. What kind of marriage they had. Many of them worship idols. They're stuck in Egypt. They wanted to show us that nonetheless, Hashem was merciful with His children, the Israelite, and they didn't have merits, and yet Hashem listened to their prayers and did all these miracles for them.
Because of their names.
But there is something that I repeat in my classes, and I'm saying, be careful not to push things. I can just give you a taste a little bit, and we discuss. I'll give you the whole story, B'ez Hashem, next week. He was a guy that was childless, and he was asking for a son. He went to the Saba Mishpoli. He was a great tzaddik. Then if he pray for you, you will have everything you want. He came to him and said, Rabbi, one day after so many years didn't have kids, he opened the door. Rabbi, I want you to make a decree that I have a son. Rabbi looked at them and said, this is how you behave? I made a decree, you'll never have a son. To be continued. Remind me this one. Next week. On behalf of Ohev Israel Foundation, I want to thank everybody, especially the Median family, for hosting the show. Thank you for the Roches family for uploading this class. And I want to wish each and every one of you here a good parnasa. You should have B'ez Hashem b'riut, a good health, and you'll be smiling and happy all day long. You get good news, Be'ezrat Hashem, and Hashem bring you under His wings. Please go to our website and help Ohev Israel spread more Torah and help more people in need. Amen. On behalf of Israel, I want to thank you. Shalom, shalom. See you Be'ez Hashem next week, same time, same place.